Alrighty, hello everyone, welcome to the show. I will just quickly finish up setting up the stream. If you can just bear with for a moment whilst I do that. And then we can get cracking on the live stream itself. Yes. Hope you are all doing well. As we are looking to get underway for this round, the penultimate round of the season. It has gone past very quickly. And then we get a shareable link and then we paste that in. And there we go. We are live, fully up and running. So hello everyone and welcome back. We are 3 minutes away from qualifying. For the penultimate round of the season. Here at Zolder. So yeah, Zolder, one of the most known Belgian circuits, of course, Spa being the most notable one. Zolder still is a very famous circuit, a very historic circuit as well. I will just quickly grab all the data from that. So this circuit going in a clockwise direction, not that many corners, only got 10 turns. Given what track map you look at, the infamous triple chicane is classified as one corner, I believe, on most track maps. This sequence of corners here, as we see that Valcinelli goes a little bit too much over the curb and does invalidate their lap time, which is not that bad given that it's practice. It will count towards more during the qualifier and during the actual race. Actually, this circuit isn't that old. I was thinking it was older. It's from 1963. That is the year that this circuit was opened. We have seen many changes in the layout, as well as some Formula 1 races over the years, between the early 70s and mid 1980s. 10 Grand Prix in total have ran here. But in its current configuration, it is just over 4 kilometers long, or just shy of 2.5 miles in length, so a pretty short circuit. It's got fast sweeping sectors, yeah, throughout the whole lap. No real slow speed corners. Maybe the hairpin at the very end of the lap is probably the slowest corner of them all. But yeah, it's a real technical circuit, especially with all the chicanes involved. You do need to be on your A game around here. Nowadays, more important events are the Porsche Super Cup races here. The 23 hours of Zolder is also ran throughout the year. So you could say it's maybe a B circuit compared to Spa, but well, Spa is setting a very high standard. It's not really that much of a B tier in itself. I very much like the circuit. But we are heading out on track to start the qualifying hour. Not really, it's a qualifying 20 minutes for this race. A little bit delayed for this start time. I'm sure you wouldn't mind that. Fitzpatrick early out of the blocks. Panebianco is just ahead, being the first one out of the pit lane. And then this Fitzpatrick and Popov, who are second and third, to go out and start their outlap. More cars exiting the pit lane right now, also because it is such a short circuit, very tight circuit as well. You do need to be on the lookout for traffic, especially during this qualifying session, as the track is also really narrow at points. Overtaking will be a challenge throughout the race. Panebianco, first one to start a flying lap. Let's ride on board as we head to turn number 1. Running it all the way out wide over the exit curb. Then sweeping right-hander through turn 2. Then turn 3. Then tap on the brakes for turn 4. And immediately back on the power on the semi back straight. Then you got the first set of chicanes coming up, and you can really go aggressive over the curves. Then you crest the hill, go down, take a left-hander, and then you have the most famous part of this circuit, the double chicane, where you really want to cut the inside curves. Then through the right-hander, going over the crest to go back down into the hairpin, the slowest corner around this track, going down to 64 kilometers an hour. Then on the back straight, going past Turney there, giving way into the final chicane to round off the lap. Want to get a good exit out of here, and does look very nicely as they come across the line. It will be a 1:29.1, setting the pace for everyone else. And interesting news, you do see that correctly, it is a Lamborghini, but it has been driven by not Moro, but Freivogel. Freivogel has opted to change their car, and they are already down to a 1 minute 28.8, so already quite up to speed with that new machinery. For these last 2 rounds they will be using this Lamborghini. And there we see Cabras going straight at turn number 1 after finishing the lap, currently in P3. Camera was doing funky business. As usual, camera operators being a little bit sleepy at times. Next up across the line we have Warrior. They go to a 1 minute 29.9, which puts them in P8 for the moment. I'm also gonna quickly grab the current standings as we head into the final 2 races of the season. So maybe a champion can be crowned. I doubt that, as we see that Iliscu goes wide on the exit of turn number 1, which also invalidates their lap time. So first of all, let's go to the not overall standings. The spreadsheet I have in front of me has messed up quite a lot. I am not sure why, but that's something that needs to be looked at. Then we go to the class championship, where it is still Gertz who leads in gold class ahead of Morrow and Taylor. That is a clear top 3, and I don't think that Gertz is currently out on oh, there they are. Gertz is out on the circuit, so they will try to defend their current championship lead in gold class. That is Gertz, Morrow, Taylor. That is Cabras, Falcinelli, BX Royal, Lojack, Paris, Weston, Martinelli, Paul, Vitterer, Regnix, Hochhausen, Scanlon and Freivogel. Freivogel losing their points after changing their car, so they are no longer in contention for almost anything in this championship. Then we head over to silver class, where it is Popov who leads by quite a margin over Warrior and Turney. Then we have Dundees, Callion, Iliscu, Gonalons, Asen, Caesar, Omoda and Glyn making up silver class. And last but not least we have bronze class, which has currently got Fitzpatrick in the lead, followed closely by Caraballo. Then there's O'Leary, Azrian, Black, Jordanov, Mackie and Bayliss making up bronze class. As we are nearing the end of the lap for Gertz, only the chicane left to manage. Currently going very green on the delta. Coming across the line, it will be a 1 minute 28.6, which puts them in P3 at the moment. Morrow is the one who has the current pole position time of a 1 minute 28.4, followed closely by Taylor. Taylor has been on a quite a good run in the last couple of races. Let me quickly get the other stats. Of course, claiming another podium in the last race did them very good. Also standings wise, as they improved their lap time. Falcinelli now actually with the fastest lap of the session so far, down to a 1 minute 28.2. As I believe that was Martinelli going straight at the chicane, just to let the others past. No big issue there. As we have just over half. Ooh, Ooh, as that is a little bit sideways from Taylor. That's the issue with that double chicane. If you cut too much, you can get a track limits violation, but you can also just completely spin out as the car shifts its weight over the curb. It is an easy spot to make a mistake. That's also for the first chicane. As we see that Turner just leaves a little bit of a gap to the car ahead to start their next flying lap. Trying to improve on their 29.2. I should have remembered what lap time I did around here. Oh, that's too wide. Probably. Might not have been for Turner. They still keep going. And ending sector number 1 just in the green by just shy of 100th of a second. Through the chicane they go, losing a little bit of time, but just marginally. Coming down the hill, on the brakes nicely, turn it in. And there they gain a lot of time, 2/10, nearly 3/10 of a second they gained through that section alone. Up to nearly 4/10 as they head into the hairpin. One more braking zone left to go for Turner. Getting the car in nicely, losing a little bit of time on the exit will still be a very nice 3/10 improvement to go up to P8 with a 1 minute 28.932. O'Leary there letting some people go past as they are not currently on a quick lap. So 8 minutes left to go. Let's have a quick look at the order. It is still Falcinelli who leads from Taylor. Then it is Gertz who has closed up quite a lot. Then it is Moro. Then Panebianco, who goes a little bit wide out of turn 2 there. Then we have Freivogel in the Lamborghini. Then there's Cabras, Martinelli, Turner, Weatherston, Popov, Turney, Warrior coming across the line right now. With Fitzpatrick just ahead. Then Iliescu, Gonalons, Caraballo, Black, O'Leary, Druid currently in the pit lane with Jornok just behind, and Hochhausen and Dundee's both yet to set a lap time. Are we gonna see a lap here from Hochhausen coming up towards the line? Is it going to be a valid lap? And it is not. Maybe it's also their out lap, not sure. But they still have some work cut out for them before the end of the session. They did do it 29.2, but it wasn't valid, so it didn't count for anything. That would put them top 10, maybe just outside of the top 10. Currently going very quick, a second or over a second up on their presumably invalidated lap time. Losing a little bit on the exit, but still having a nice green delta of 9/10 of a second. But losing quite a lot there on the exit out of the hairpin. Over 2/10 lost there. Into the final chicane. Keep it clean, don't invalidate your lap time right now. They come across the line. It will become a 1 minute 28.8. But still invalidated somehow. Not sure why and how, but hey, if it has been noted to be invalid, then it is invalid. No point in denying any of that. Meanwhile, the other Mustang is up in 4th place. So Hochhausen can put some more pace into it to catch up to their companion. Ooh, that is a bit wide from Gonalons as they also pull over to the side of the road and to return to the pit lane as well. They have the two Mercedes cars right behind each other of Panabianco and O'Leary. P6 and P19 currently. As Freivogel has made their way up to P3 now. Lamborghini seemingly suiting them very, very well. Panabianco coming over the line to start their flying lap after coming out of the pit lane on the previous lap. There's no real time to rest around the circuit. It is a lot of straights or high speed. Ooh, as that is too wide from Panabianco, and that will invalidate their lap time and will rule out that lap for them. Can Moro improve? They were up slightly as they head into the hairpin, but coming out not as much. Still, I was gonna say the chicane left, but they decide to come into the pit lane. Also handy to practice that pit limiter. Good, now up to 2nd place. As Moro has done a sub 1 minute 28, down to a 1 minute 27.8. Being the only car so far to go sub 1 minute 28. That is Freivogel, who just has beaten out Kurtz for 2nd place, making it a Lamborghini 1-2. Then it's Kurtz, Falcinelli and Taylor making up the top 5, but still all very close to each other. Moro definitely has the edge over the others, but still a lot can happen. As you can just see how much Freivogel is cutting on that chicane. And they are up on their time by 2.5 tenths. This could become a pole position lap if they end it off nicely. Getting it nicely stopped for the hairpin. 3 tenths up now as they head towards the final corners of the circuit. Into the final chicane. Braking it nicely, going over the curb aggressively. And that's a real nice lap. Coming towards the line is going to be a 1 minute 27.8, which puts them on provisional pole position with just 1 lap remaining in this session. Think they could be very happy with themselves after switching to that Lamborghini. Good evening, Druid. How are you doing tonight? Any strategies planned for this race? Let's quickly see, is anyone up on their time? Goods gaining a little bit on the exit. Now 10th up. This could become an improvement of their position as Bianco has taken 4th. Coming up to the line, it will be just a minor improvement. Not enough to move them up a position. Gonalons now with a big improvement, nearly a second up into the hairpin. Getting a lot of time on the exit now, up 1.1 seconds from P19. Where can they go? Up towards the line, nearly a 1.1 second improvement from P19 all the way up to P13, where they're 1 minute 29.2. As we only have one more car running, which belongs to Taylor, currently in P2. Will this be pole position as they come towards the line? It is pole position for Taylor, stealing it from the Lamborghinis. And that is a great result for them. Also for Freivogel, getting it on the front row for the start of this race. A big achievement there for them. As now we have 2.5 minutes to go before the green flag flies. So I'm quickly updating my spreadsheet. Missing a couple of guys, but that's just what happens. And not everyone can make it to every single race, but they try their best. I think someone just left the session. I am not sure. Let's quickly go over the starting order then, with Taylor in first. Then is Freivogel lining up besides. Then it's the other Lamborghini of Moro in third. Then Bianco in fourth with Gertz and fortunately occupying the third row of the grid. Then it is Hochhausen and Cabros P7 and P8 with Weatherston and Turner making up the top 10. Then we have Popov, Gonalons, Turney, Fitzpatrick, Warrior, Iliski, Caraballo, Black, O'Leary and Druid making up the top 20 with Joranov and Dundies being on the last row of the grid. So, green flag has been waved to signal the start of the formation lap, as Taylor leads away in the Porsche from the two roaring Lamborghinis behind. Will be an interesting sight to see whether or not the Porsche can hold on to that lead. of course, last week they also started from pole, Taylor, but ended up finishing in P3 at Watkins Glen. So there is a chance that they can keep their lead as they did in round number 5, starting on pole position and finishing on pole position. But actually this is their fourth time actually starting from pole position this season, so nearly half the races. I didn't realize that. At least my spreadsheet says that's the case. But yeah, from the 3 previous occasions, they have only won 1. The other 2 they finished P3 and P4. So let's see what they can do for this race then. As all the cars making their way around the lap, trying to warm up their tires, warm up their brakes. As it is currently a bit chilly with 10 degrees, but an optimum track condition. What I really like to see is that in the top 6 we have 5, in the top 5 we have 4 different manufacturers. Yeah, only the 2 Lamborghinis are different. Of course, also we have the BMW of Weatherston. So it will be a showdown for sure. Now lining up side by side, Taylor will have the inside line for turn number 1, which in this case is the preferred line, going through the chicane as all the cars line up next to one another. We await the green flag to fly. And it is go, go, go for round number 7, the penultimate round of the season. It's a good start from Taylor. Oh, but they get tagged immediately. Luckily they can keep it out on the circuit, but the 2 Lamborghinis have collided and have fallen away all the way down the grid, as they are no longer being seen at the front of the grid. It is now Taylor from Goods, then it's Bianco leading this race. Taylor getting away there very, very luckily from what could have been a major crash on this opening tour of the circuit. Further down behind it is nearly 3 wide at point. Oh, as someone goes in very deep, I believe there was Popov going in very deep into the first chicane. They're rejoining on the right hand side of the circuit. But more importantly, the 2 Lamborghinis are almost lost, as they are now at the very back of the grid, going through the chicane now. All well and good, no further incidents there. The Lamborghinis going a bit argy-bargy between the 2 of them, cutting the chicane and going off the circuit. And that must be one of the most disastrous starts of the season I've ever, or of the race, sorry, that I've ever seen, especially in this championship. So after that incredible lap number 1, it is Taylor who leads from Goetz, then it's Bianco, with Hochhausen making it all the way up to 4th place, with Falcinelli and Cabras in 5th and 6th place. Has calmed down a little bit there, Turney trying to do something on Gonalons and having the inside line for turn number 4, improving their position up to 7th place right now. Ooh, it is late on the brakes. Ooh, and Gonalons did very well at avoiding there, as now Weatherston is looking up the inside of Turner, And I think the BMW will make that work as Turner tucks in right behind. There was a half-hearted look, and did that scare Weatherston enough to make a mistake? Ooh, they kept it on the circuit. Was that a track limits violation though? Could be well the case, as you can get one pretty quickly, especially at that chicane. And again Turner going very deep on the brakes, again nearly going into the back of the car ahead. And nearly wanting to go very narrow into the final chicane, trying to get past that pink BMW. Is there a run here? Weatherston covers it up nicely, keeping the inside line, defending their position. As up ahead, Turney and Gonalons are also going at it once more. Lots of excitement in this early part of the race. Lots of very tight battles, as we surely must look at the front of the field as well. As Götz is getting closer to the back of Taylor's car. Porsche being very good on the acceleration, especially out of the hairpin. It will be very difficult to gain a traction advantage over them. Those Porsches really nicely there in the exit phase of a corner. But the Mustang also really good in the straight line. And they will catch up on the straights. Of course, Porsche will also suffer a bit more from that rear tire degradation, as that acceleration takes its toll. There's one mandatory pit stop in this race. No need to change the tires though, as it is only a mandatory fuel stop. There is a minimum pit time, but you can take 1 liter of fuel, you can take 100, whatever you like. So it is a challenge to make sure. Oh, that is a bit argy-bargy there from Cabras, getting ahead of Hochhausen there. And improving their position up to 5th place. Now setting their sights on the Mercedes ahead. Ooh, that's a bit deep from the Porsche, cutting the chicane. And will that invite Hochhausen back into the fight? Hochhausen might go for a sand into the chicane. Thinks better of it. Tucks back in behind, as behind it is Turney, who is needing to defend from Gonalons, but still staying ahead. Oh, as that is a spin for Fitzpatrick. Fitzpatrick has spun around. Ooh, and that's going to be very tight. Let's try to get an angle. As there, they have rejoined now. By the looks of it, no one has been collected, but that has dropped them all the way down to the rear of the field. Meanwhile, Popov, ooh, getting a bit squared over the curbs, has managed to get up into 10th place after going in very deep at the first chicane on the opening lap. We saw them go into the gravel trap and then rejoining the circuit in a safe way to continue on racing. They are now on the very verge of the top 10, just inside 2.5 seconds away or ahead of P11. Turner has now fallen away slightly down to P18. Must have been an incident for them to fall back that much, as they weren't there all that long ago. As now Gonalons needs to defend from Weatherston behind, as Weatherston was battling with Turner. Turner having a little bit of a scary moment, braking down for the hairpin, just clipping the grass on the entry a slight bit, causing to unsettle their car. And to have your car unsettled in the braking zone is probably one of the worst things that can happen to you at the racing circuit. Further behind we have a yellow flag, as it is Freivogel who is now rejoining the circuit, and I believe there was also a Moro involved, as I thought I saw them briefly pop up as a yellow flag. We will definitely be taking a look back at the start of the race in a moment's time, once everything cools down a little bit. It is Taylor who leads by 1.5 seconds over Goods. Top 2 currently running away with it, and Falcinelli actually has made it their way up to P3, getting ahead of Panabianco, and with Carlos now behind, trying to get closer to their Porsche companion, as I think we will have the possibility to take a quick look at the replay. Just to quickly see what actually happened at the start of this race. We are on board with Moro. Oh, they went in too deep. Oh, and then they got tagged behind. And that's the cause for their coming together. As we take a look at the start again from the helicopter camera. I think it's just too deep from Moro. Then getting a slight tag from Panabianco. Nothing they could really do there. And then rejoining all the way at the back of the grid. Now let's take a quick look to see what happened at the end of this lap. Oh, as Fitzpatrick went in a little bit too deep. Oh, and then just an unfortunate incident. And that caused the pair of them to spin. Actually, it wasn't Fitzpatrick. It was another McLaren. Might have been Caraballo, actually. No, Drew, it might have been. But that's what happened with those Lamborghinis. And yeah. Unfortunately for them, that has caused them to drop even further down the field. Now, you know what, let's try this helicopter camera out. Bit different, but does give a nice overview also of the cars ahead and behind. Especially looking towards this battle, with Hawkhausen just behind Cabras. Is there going to be a move into the first corner? First corner, first chicane. A little bit early on the brakes for Hawkhausen, just to be sure not to run into the back of that Porsche ahead. Going over the crest. And there's no real overtaking opportunity, but one sign is clear, and that is that Hawkhausen has got the pace, as they set the fastest lap of the race with a 1:28.1. So once they get ahead of Cabras, it will be most likely that they will stretch away, but they first need to get past. And right now, oh, as ahead, that is a mistake from Panabianco, going out a little bit too wide on the exit of the final corner, and gives Cabras the inside for turn number 1. They leave each other room. Great racing there between the pair, as now Hawkhausen will try to have a slight look up the inside, and suddenly Cabras finds themselves up behind the Mustang, instead of ahead of the Mercedes. And somewhat of a bump draft there from the Mustang, trying to go for a move into the first chicane. With Panebianco brakes later, is able to stay ahead, but with a better run, much better run through the chicane, Holghausen will make it 2 in the space of 1 lap. Probably, if they can get it stopped in time, they can. Panebianco cuts the chicane and has to concede their position. So suddenly it is now Holghausen up to 4th place after starting from 6th at the beginning of this lap. Further behind we have a yellow flag, that is for Jordanov. They seem to be moving again as the yellow flag has been withdrawn now. Jordanov already early on in the week saying that they don't really enjoy the circuit all too much, which I can understand. It's a very technical circuit, and if you just don't get the hang of it, it is very easy to make a lot of mistakes or just be slower than the other cars around you. Still these three keeping it close together. So there we have Jordanov. Quite a bit away from the next car up ahead. Ooh, as they missed their braking point for the chicane. Weatherston getting closer to the back of Gonalons. Look at how much they close in on the brakes and then exit out with a bit of straight before they hit the brakes once again. And they are trying to get closer to the back of that McLaren. Going actually similar pace as Popov actually behind is going sub 1 minute 29s. So Popov might be a contender as well here, and that would be for 7th place. Goods has closed in a little bit on Taylor, going to a sub 1 minute 28 as the new fastest lap of the race so far. And even last lap just going 2 thousandths over the sub 1 minute 28 mark. Let's see what kind of lap they are doing right now. A 1 minute 28.2 for Taylor, and also a 0.2 from Goods, with a 0.5 from Falcinelli, 0.5 for Holghausen, 0.6 for Panebianco, and a 0.4 for Cabra. So everyone being really closely matched, as it's the top two who started to run away, but Falcinelli a little bit on their own, and then of course the battle for 4th place, where I believe we have a really close fight between Cabras and Panebianco, as Holghausen is extending away. As a little bit behind, it is Dundee's is gone off the road. I wasn't planning on covering that. I was planning on covering this. Weatherston, Popov, Turney. 3 cars in the space of less than a second. And Gonalons was in this fight, but has dropped back a fair bit. At least I think they were in this fight. There were 4 cars in this fight, I know that much. But at least we know for certain that we now have 3 cars in this battle. Turney in the Aston Martin, Weatherston in the BMW and Popov in the McLaren. Turney currently leading in silver class and Popov in a second place. Popov of course currently in the lead overall in silver class, with Turney in third place from the top of my head. So this would be a swing in points for Turney if they can keep it there. Oh, but that's a rough run through the chicane, and that could mean that they lose out on the position to Weatherston. Weatherston now going around the outside to take 7th place, but going in a bit too deep into the second apex of the double chicane. And that could mean that they have got a tick from the stewards, getting themselves a warning. We don't know that as of now, as Jordanov is already in the pit lane. And still these guys are very close together, still a second between the 3 cars. As Carbos has dropped back a little bit on that last lap. So now it is Pane Bianco who might attack. As I believe I saw something there. Weatherston has made a big mistake. And what has happened to Weatherston? That definitely looks like some damage to the front of their car. And I think it is. Let's take a quick look back to see what has happened to the BMW. Of course, last race was already disastrous for them after suffering a technical issue with their steering. And of course, this lap would be very annoying for them. As let's see what happens with them. They were in 7th place. Coming up towards turn 4. Oh, and sliding out, and that is a real unfortunate incident. A lapse of concentration, overcorrecting, and then sparing off into the barrier. And I think they also have some steering damage given the state of their car and the visible difficulties with steering, and now they have come into the pit lane. On one hand, they are now able to serve their mandatory pit stop. On the other hand, they would have liked to have done that without the damage. Oh, as that is Turner and Iliscu having a coming together at the first chicane. As Truett is now defending from Morrow. Of course, Moro should have more pace, but it is difficult to overtake around here. It is more waiting from a mistake of the car ahead, more than anything else. Oh, and that is a bit deep from through it, and that could give the opening to Moro. And Moro will slip past and up to 15th position, trying to salvage as much as possible. Oh, as through it nearly went into the back, into the braking zone. That would have been very, very annoying for them. Popov now into the pit lane. I think that's for a scheduled pit stop. There they are. Weatherson now coming out of the pit lane. Suddenly everything has kicked off. Still, these guys still in position, top 6 as they were. As the gap between the top 2 has now shrunken down to 0.5 of a second. Will become a little bit more as Gert ran just a tad wide on the exit of turn 4. Gert scanning back some time through the chicane, but constantly keeping the car out wide through that right-hander. It's a high-speed right-hander, but constantly just looking for the edges. Oh, but so close on the brakes. I think Gertz has definitely got some more braking performance than Taylor. Around equal laps or lap times. As I have a feeling that this battle will rage on for the remainder of the race. We are nearing the halfway point of this race. Let's see if Gertz runs out wide again. Well, not as much. Fortunately, meanwhile, maybe losing a little bit of time to the cars behind of Hochhausen and Panebianco. Especially on that last lap. Iliski there with some damage to the front of their car. Being involved in some incident. Whether or not another party was involved, I don't know. Oh, as that is an incident for Black, and into the barrier they go. Luckily it's a semi-soft touch and they rejoin the racetrack. But just losing the car on the entry, or apex more like, of the first apex in that double chicane. And I wouldn't be surprised to see them peel off into the pit lane on this lap. actually they stay out. Interesting. I would think with a hit like that, you would come in as Warrior and Guts. Guts is into the pit lane, ladies and gentlemen. Second placed car has peeled it into the pit lane and is now coming out of the pit lane, but there will be some traffic there by the likes of Freivogel, who is pretty quick, so that would be someone to get past for Guts. Turning now with no pressure from behind, as the pit lane is very busy. Hochhausen in, Falcinelli in, the leader is in the pit lane as well. And now it is a crucial outlap for Guts. Will they get ahead of Taylor once these pit stops have played out? It will be very close. There were less than a second between the two of them when they went into the pit lane. Taylor is not moving yet. Still stationary. Oh, as that's a yellow flag for Freivogel. Taylor still not moving. And that is the lead over to Guts. Guts with a much better pit stop. Has something gone on with Taylor. Taylor still in the pit lane, still not moving. Panebianco currently leads from Cabras, but they still need to make their pit stop. Cabras going in right now. And finally Taylor coming out of the pit lane. Was this a mistake? Just like they had at Watkins Glen. Afterwards I found out that they were changing the brakes, costing them an extra 45 seconds. And probably costed them the win as well. But again, a bit of a butchered pit stop for the Porsche driver. Sees them drop all the way down to P15 behind for instance Popov, who has already completed the pit stop. So this is now for a real position. More people in the pit lane. Black, Caraballo, Eliscu, all in the lane. As Turney now in second place, as there was a Moro there, giving way to those cars. Turney of course hasn't pitted yet. Gonalons is getting blue flagged, so they need to abide by that. Oh, as Turney goes in a little bit deep into the chicane. As it is Turner looking up the inside now of Turney, trying to unlap themselves. Not quite able to do so. Ooh, as nearly there was attack. Nearly Turney got spun round. I think this is just maybe some older tires coming into play here. Oh, as there has been a collision between the McLaren and the Aston Martin. Tony trying to get back out on circuit and rejoining safely, but that was quite unnecessary, I think, from Turner. And that has cost Tony around 9 seconds, I would think. 9 seconds that could become very crucial. So Turner now right behind Morrow, as Morrow has gotten past Turner. Bianco yet to pits, currently leading this race. Do we need to serve a their mandatory pit stop before the end of the race? Still plenty of time to do that. I think it would be only fuel for them, as it is more reasonable to go 4 tires at the midway point of the race instead of splitting the strategy. As Druid is now in for their personal pit stop. Vogel trying to get any positions back, currently in P19 after starting from the first row of the grid, being involved in that turn 1 incident and steadily climbing their way back up, currently 9 seconds behind the next car ahead for position, which is Fitzpatrick in the McLaren, the bright pink McLaren. They still have quite a long way to go. Probably not the debut they were hoping for in the Lamborghini. Already feeling not that great in the BMW, switching to the Lamborghini. Starting from the front row of the grid, but that will not be resulting in a good result. Which is a shame, really. I believe they had quite a lot of pace. Still, they press on, and we will see where they will end up at the end. Still 24 minutes left to go. I think Warrior is in a real nice position here. P10 overall, and 11 seconds ahead of P11 behind. Also 13 seconds behind P9 up ahead, but a nice clear space, no one around, just hot lapping as they can. There we see Druid giving away to Falcinelli. With those blue flags you need to give way, and that's what Druid did nicely, as we have a yellow flag for car 52. That would be Warrior, actually. We were just talking about Warrior, and now they have caused a yellow flag and have lost out on a couple of positions, losing it in the double chicane and costing themselves 3 positions as a result. 16 seconds lost. Ooh, and that could become very crucial towards the end of the race. Now at least they have a target to go for. With 5 seconds up the road is Turner. Then 6 seconds further up the road it is Morrow. Or further second up the road is Morrow, sorry. As we have the leader into the pit lane, Panabianco coming into the lane, and that means that Turney will take over the lead of this race. But Gr3 is already right behind, and Gr3 has already completed their pit stop. So I don't want to be too hastily, but I think this one is in the bag for Gr3. This will be a fight for position, although I don't think it will be a long fight. That's actually Turney lets Gr3 go past, trying to race their own race, knowing that they will probably lose time when they are scrapping around. As Jordanov pulls over to the side there to let them go. Turney, of course, being in silver class, currently leading in silver class in this race, and needing all the points that they can get. It's better for them to run their own race. I wouldn't be too surprised to see them coming in at the end of this lap, as we have done 2/3 of this race. But no, they stay out. I wonder why they are staying out all that long. Interesting strategy. Anyway, it is Gr3 who leads from Turney. Turney still yet to make their pit stop. Then it is Falcinelli, Panabianco, Hochhausen, Cabras and Dundee's also yet to make their pit stop. Then it is Taylor who has dropped all the way down to P8 after leading for so long. Then Popov in 9th with Gonalons making up the top 10. Then we have Morrow, Turner, Warrior, Caraballo, Black, O'Leary, Druid, Fitzpatrick, Freivogel with the fastest lap of the race in P19. Then it is Weatherston, Iluscu and Jordanov making up the field. And quite a lot of battles going on right now as Fitzpatrick lets Carabas go past. Oh, as that is a half spin there for Druid. Luckily they caught it, and luckily, or even more lucky, is Carabas for avoiding any contact with that McLaren, just sliding over on the circuit. And now the two pink-purple McLarens are going head to head to duke it out over 17th position. And again a bit of a slide there from Druid. Trying to put the power down as soon as possible to stay ahead of Fitzpatrick. Fitzpatrick now really close. Less than 1 car length in between the two of them. Jordanov giving way to let these two fight. Is there going to be a move around the outside? Space has been given. And now they are running side by side into the chicane. Fitzpatrick just ahead and with the inside line. Who is going to be the one latest on the brakes? And it is Fitzpatrick who makes the move and moves themselves up to P17. Popov is in a real nice place here. A long way ahead of Turner behind. And with Dundee's yet to bid, gaining at least one other position, and Turney also needing to bid, they might be looking currently at a P1 in class, as I believe they are P3 now. Turney has now entered the pit lane, so they will serve their pit stop. And once Dundee's has pitted, then I believe it will be indeed Popov who will be in the lead of silver class. Further behind, it is actually still on for everyone in bronze class. Everyone with semi-close gaps to one another. Caraballo just being 5 seconds ahead of Black, who is only 2 seconds ahead of O'Leary. Dundee's has not pulled into the pit lane, so they are staying out for at least one other lap. And Popov has now made their way past Turney, so I think Popov will get their class win as well. Has Gert made a mistake? There's the, oh, and that is a Jordanov being stricken on the road. Luckily staying still in one position to not do any sudden movements. But the reason I'm saying that Gert has made a mistake is that suddenly it's only 7 seconds between them and Falcinelli. I was under the impression that that gap was bigger. Falcinelli just keeping up a nice pace. As look at that car train behind Turney after coming out of the pit lane, coming out in P9 ahead of Gonalons, Turner and Morrow. As the two McLarens behind are squabbling. Oh, and that was contact and nearly an incident between the two McLarens. And I have a feeling that this will end badly for one or more parties. As I'm trying to get a POV from Morrow. There we go. So that we can see this battle evolve from the rear of this train. And this is all a battle for P8, which should become P7 once Dundee's has come into the lane. Or has Dundee's already been in the pit lane? Dundee's has already made a stop. I am sorry, Dundee's is now in P13. So this is now all for position. No more pit stops left to be run, as Taylor now with the fastest lap of the race. Are you going to see a move here for Morrow? Darting up the inside, but that is way too late on the brakes, and that is into the side of Turner. And that's a big mistake there for Morrow. Too eager to get the move. And thus causing an incident. And did I see that correctly? Did I see that correctly? I believe I did. Panebianco has retired. Panebianco, from well inside the top 5, has retired from this race without seemingly any reason. I am not quite sure why. I will try to keep you informed, but I just saw them pull over to the side of the road, and then they were gone, just like that. Just disappeared out of plain sight. As well, we have another car, Gonalons, has fallen victim to the first chicane. Getting back up to speed right now. So Taylor with the fast lap of the race of a 127.7. As Hochhausen has gotten themselves a drive-through for track limits, and they are now up to P3. So that will cost them quite a lot of time and presumably also quite a lot of positions. As Taylor is now trying to gain back those positions. As Dundee's has also been given a drive-through for track limits. And is now getting back up to speed. There you can see the dust cloud coming from that Ferrari. Ooh, that's really wide for Taylor. Ooh, that was a really scary incident. I had one of those incidents where it did not turn out as favorably during a 12-hour race. So I know all about that corner and how annoying that corner is. If you don't hook it up nicely, you are done for. As we see that Dundee's going into the pit lane for their drive-through, as Hochhausen is also in the pit lane for their drive-through, and that will be Taylor up to P4, and Hochhausen has been given a stop go 30 for speeding in the pit lane, as now more people are getting their penalties. Warrior now as well with a drive-through, with Hochhausen trying to serve that stop and go, has caused them to speed into the pit lane, and they have received a stop and go 30 seconds for that to add salt to the wounds. Dundee's has now cleared their drive-through without speeding, so they are back on the road. And Warriors now also into the pit lane for the drive-through. As Jordanov has been given a drive-through for track limits as well. Suddenly, with 10 minutes remaining, everyone is getting drive-throughs left, right and center. Warrior has served their drive-through right now, will come out back on circuit. There you can see the green Porsche entering from the right hand side. And being somewhat generous with getting back out of the pit lane. As Hochhausen and Joranov are both now in the lane to serve their penalties. There we go. Ooh, and that's some big damage to the front of that BMW. Might want to get that fixed. It's good still who leads, but by only 7 seconds. Could be a little bit more, maybe for the comfort of Guts, although still keeping it on the road. 7 seconds with 8.5 minutes left to go. Needs to be some sort of miracle to see Guts lose out on the lead, but we have seen it happen before. For instance, at Misano. Guts will probably remember that one really well. Not for the positive side of that race, but more for the negative side. As Hochhausen has gone through the pit lane, but has still gotten a stop and go 30 seconds. At least according to our time page, as one of the Lamborghinis has gone again. And that is Moro, and that is some aero damage definitely to the front of their car. It is not the day to be a Lamborghini driver. That is everything going wrong. That can go wrong. And I think they also have some obstructed visibility with that hood being slightly dented upwards. And not surprisingly, they are going to the pit lane. And not speeding in the pit lane whilst they do so. Now Hochhausen is again in the pit lane, hopefully to serve their penalty correctly this time. But they will drop down quite a long way down the field. As there in the background we saw Dandies giving away, as Turney now up to P6 with Popov in P5. That's just an amazing turnaround to see the top 3, or top 3 of gold class, top 3 of silver class, all being in the top 8. That is very impressive. As there was another yellow flag for Fitzpatrick at the double chicane, which has been resolved, as they are currently back on their way. As they got Iliescu right behind them, that is for position. As Popov will probably be over the moon with a P5 finish after experiencing firsthand what happened to them on that opening lap, going in very deep into the first chicane. O'Leary there giving way to Taylor, but needing to be careful not to give way to Weatherston behind, as that will be for position. And Weatherston swoops around the outside. Might have got a chicane, and I think they did. And is generous enough to give back that position to O'Leary. As they still fight on, 4 minutes left to go in this race, which probably equates to 3 laps once they cross the finish line, as the leader has already started the next lap. It was a brave attempt from Weatherston to go around the outside into the double chicane, but alas, after cutting in the corner, didn't feel right, and they conceded the position back, as they somewhat overtook off circuit then. And Warrior behind is also closing in, as that is a wide moment from O'Leary that gives the door wide open to Weatherston to swoop past. Now it's trying to follow and maybe strike back. As now Moro is coming back out of the pit lane. Or not, they are still in the pit lane. Not sure what's happening there. What I do know is that Weatherston is already a second up ahead, as Jordanov there is getting out of the way. They are really having a tough time around here. But truth be told, I am proud of them to keep going, as I know quite a couple of others who would have given up already by now. Again, bit squirrely out of the final chicane. And is there going to be a move from Naked Warrior? Ooh. Space is left. But a very awkward turn one, must be said. And again, ooh, catching a slide. And O'Leary being demoted down to P14. Losing 2 positions in 2 laps time. Morrow has come out of the pit lane, coming out in P20, but I am thinking that we won't see an improvement of position for them, as it is the final lap now, as Guts has started the final lap. Luckily there is the drop round, which removes the worst result, and currently Morrow's worst result was P13, so this will be their worst result of the race, of the season, with a P20 with 1 more race left to go. A P2, 3 and 4 for Porsches. That's an amazing sight to see. We're still behind Turney, staying ahead of Turner for 6th position. But we are looking at the man in the Mustang up ahead. It is Guts, who was not one of the favorites, I must say, to win this race. Into the chicane for the last time, get them gone, as it is Guts who will come across the line and taking victory in this 7th round of the season. An amazing result for them, as further behind it is the Porsches of Falcinelli and Cabras. Falcinelli claiming a 2nd place, with Cabras, after being on the podium in the last race, will also stand on the podium once more. P3 it is for Cabras, as Taylor, after starting from pole position, will have to do with another P4 finish. They do get the fastest lap, so they will get something out of it, but I think they will be very disappointed in their result. Weatherston across the line in P11, and now we will lose all sight of who finishes where. Long live the spectator camera at ACC. P15 for Druid, just ahead of Fitzpatrick in the other purple McLaren. And there we have the final standing. This is Guts who wins by 9 seconds over Falcinelli. Then is Cabras in P3, Taylor in P4 with the fast lap. Then it is Popov who wins in silver class with a P5 overall, with Turney P6 and P2 in silver class. Then this Turner P7 with Gonalons in P8, and rounding out the podium in silver class. Then Caraballo winning it in bronze class ahead of Vrijvogel, who had a disastrous race, and Weatherston in P11, who also didn't have the best of races. Then Black in P12 with another podium, coming in 2nd in bronze class. Then this Warrior in P13 with O'Leary rounding out the bronze class podium in P14. P15 goes to Druid with Fitzpatrick in P16, Iliscu in P17, Hochhausen P18 with after serving that penalty. Dundee's P19, Morrow in P20 with Jonov P21, then Bianco in P22 and Martinelli P23. Not making the start, I believe. Only doing the qualifying, but I might be wrong with that. Let's save the replay as well before it is too late to do that, as I'm already hearing that another mishap for Taylor, braking too late for the pit entry and resulting in 45 seconds of damage. So again, almost the exact same like last weekend. Let's quickly chat here. No interviews tonight, unfortunately. But next week we have something to look forward to, as it is the last race of the season, with probably all championships still on the line as we head over to the 100 minutes of Spa. Be sure to tune in then next week at the same time. And until that time, I will see you a lot. Until then, have a good one. Bye bye.